Some music to ginger us this morning. You're watching the AM show. Time for some AM news. We begin with breaking news this morning. A group of people purporting to be soldiers of Western Togoland has blocked the Pong at Timpoku Road, preventing passengers from using the road. Report says that the group claims that portion of the town belongs to them. Let's get more from an eyewitness on the stretch, joining us on the phone line. We are not going to disclose his name, but great to have you on the program this morning, sir. Tell us exactly where you are and what you're witnessing.
I'm currently at Joapon, on the way to Towers at Timpoku, the bridge, about some 200 meters to Atimpoku, where the bridge starts from. There is a roadblock ahead of us. The tires have been laid across the road and bent, and it's still burning in flames. So we are all in traffic now. There's a heavy traffic jam in Japan town right now. About 500 meters traffic from where the fire starts from. So that is what we are experiencing right now. The 66 artillery people have just arrived in town, and we believe in no time the situation will be quiet.
Okay, what can you tell us about the group that is behind this? What are they doing at this point?
Actually, you can't see anybody who is saying that he belongs to the group and this and that is what they want. I mean, we can see a lot of people around, a lot of the youth, women, children moving up and down. And what we are seeing is that they are also interested in seeing what is happening. But there is nobody particularly saying that they are the people doing this and this is the reason why they are doing it. So there is nobody around to be seen. You can only see the flame. So what I am believing is that the fire was set by these individuals and they left the place.
At what time of the day was the road blocked? Do you know?
Come again?
At what time of the day was the road blocked? Do you know?
Well, we also traveled from Go to going to Accra before we see the thing. So we don't actually know the time that the fire was set.
Okay, and so you tell me that security personnel are now there. Tell us what they are doing right now.
As of now, we are about to send. The 66 artillery soldiers have gone to where the fire is. They have alighted from their bus and they are marching on the route. They are moving from the fire towards the township. That is what is happening currently. Okay,
and we are told that it has affected traffic on that route. Tell us to what extent the traffic situation is worse?
There is a very heavy traffic. There is a very, very heavy traffic in town right now. As I said earlier on, about 500 meters or more of traffic. That is what is happening right now.
And what are the residents over there saying? How are they reacting to all of this?
Well, as of now, I think all the people we are seeing now, they are also following the soldiers, and I believe they are also not in favor of what is happening because you can see that they are so friendly with the soldiers. They are giving them certain information that I'm not yet privy to.
Okay, that is an eyewitness right now on the Pong Atimpoku Road, which has been blocked by a group purported to be Western Togoland soldiers. This is breaking news this morning. We continue to follow that for you. We'll be bringing you updates throughout this program on the situation there at Pong Atimpoku. Some good news for cocoa farmers there. Now, 15 years ago, she was on the National Science and Math Quiz stage as one of the contestants for the Ghana National College in Cape Coast. More than a decade after that experience, she's back on that same stage as one of the NSMQ quiz moderators for the preliminary contest. Now, that is the story of Dr. Anita Opong Kwaku, who is now a lecturer at the chemistry department of the University of Ghana. She has been sharing her NSMQ story during the mentorship session at this year's competition.
So from my second year, I was recruited into the team to be part of the National Science and Maths Quiz. That was one of my great days because I didn't expect to be called into it. Okay. And then so they started training us. And Form 3, I was selected to be a contestant. Wow. Wow.
And how far did your team go that year?
Oh yes, I was hoping you were not going to ask that question. So the previous years we were able to get seeded.
Okay.
So we were supposed to defend that.
Oh.
But unfortunately we lost.
Oh.
With 1 point.
Wow.
Yes.
Do you remember who you lost to?
Of course. I can never forget that day. We lost to Kumasi Anglican.
Wow.
Pass.
Oh.
Yes.
So up to date, you probably do not like them very much.
Oh, not really, not really. It was basically our fault.
Oh.
We I cannot go into details, but we caused this. So we could have. Actually, I'm not going to brag, but we had a very strong team. But that time there was some hitches back and forth, so we couldn't really beat them. Because the week before we had already beaten them, so we thought it was going to be an
easy one.
Yes.
And then they showed you.
They came back with a revenge, and we lost by 1 point.
Wow, that must have been
so
dreadful.
Since I was pursuing medicine, I got enrolled into the University of Ghana. At that time, there was no direct admission into the medical school. So you have to go through biological science and then do the inclusion. You have to justify your inclusion.
Yeah.
So luckily, I was called up for the interview, but I don't think the odds were in my favor that day. So I was put on the waiting list. Okay. But I think by then I had started losing interest. Oh, in the medicine? Yes, I think so. Okay. Because I felt that why put me on the waiting list? And that means you don't really think that you can do it. Yes. Okay. So my dad was like, so what do you want to do? We have biochemistry and then chemistry. The obvious choice should have been biochemistry, right? Yes. But I went for chemistry. Okay. And he was like, why chemistry? Why chemistry? I told him because it's challenging. Okay. I want something to challenge me because I felt that, yes, I need to do something that is challenging. Yeah. Like after every contest, my mom will call me and it'll be like, you should have done this, you should have done that. Like, just to encourage me, you know, and it was really helpful. My uncles will call, my aunties will call. Like, I'm really privileged to have such a family. And friends. As for friends, I would rather not mention names. The list is endless.
Interesting stuff. And remember that our coverage of the National Science and Math Quiz is made possible by Bright SHS Kukuntumi, Building Dreams, Shaping the Future, DBS Roofing Sheets, Adonko Hand Sanitizer, and Adonko Next Level Energy Drink. That was the AM News. We want to continue following our breaking news this morning. The situation on the Atimpoku Road, I believe, where we understand that a group of Western Togoland soldiers has blocked the road. We have been following that for you this morning. Joining me in studio is my colleague Joseph Akagble, who is also on that beat for us this morning with some more details of what we have learned so far about the situation over there. Great to have you in the studio, Joseph. Just for the sake of context, I mean, for those who are hearing the news this morning, I want to just remind them of what this group is, why we're here at this moment.
So this is a group that has been agitating for independence. And for those who know Ghana's history, you know that, I mean, prior to Ghana attaining independence, the parts of the country, the Volta region and the current Oti region were not part of the Gold Coast colonies. And so we had to go through a plebiscite where the people voted to be part of the then independent Ghana. But now this group contends that that particular process was not lawful, as they who hail from the area were of the view that they shouldn't join Ghana. And so for years they have been agitating, asking that that part of the country be declared independent of Ghana. In fact, there have been occasions where their leadership have declared those areas independent. They've been arrested by the security agencies and brought here to Accra on the charges of treason. But what happens mostly is that once they put them before the court, the state truncates the case against them. And so that is where we have come from. In the last 3 months, there have been instances where they've put up billboards at parts of the country in parts of the eastern region, welcoming people into Western Togoland, and also in parts of the Volta region. Now, this morning, we understand that as early as 2 a.m. at dawn, we understand that these individuals blocked the entry points into the Volta region. And so there's a part from Accra into Sogakopeda has been blocked. Then there's also another part, the Atimpoku area, the eastern region side into the Volta region has also been blocked. And so they used the blocks, they blocked the road, they were burning ties and holding sticks, among others, preventing cars from entering the region, because they said that it is their region, they have the right to determine who comes into it. The updates we are getting from the regional minister, who has confirmed that even on the Joy FM, we spoke to one of the individuals who is part of this agitation, and he tells us that they've apprehended 3 policemen, Ghanaian policemen, who have been arrested by these persons who are demonstrating. Wow. And the Volta regional minister, Dr. Archibald Lecha, tells us that they are working to try and rescue these 3 individuals from the custody of this secessionist movement.
And to be able to block the road is a very bold move, Joseph. Yes,
I mean, because they have the numbers and they went there at a time that, I mean, a lot of people were sleeping, and so the security agencies, we understand, have moved in. As at the time I was coming into the studio, the information we had picked up was that they had been able to make some progress. They've been able to remove some of the blockades, and so the vehicular traffic has started moving a bit. But for at least an hour and a half plus, there was no movement on the road. We heard from persons who were stranded. Most of them actually thought that there was an accident that had occurred until they got closer before they got information that this is what has happened. The Volta regional minister has assured that his men are doing their best to try and deal with this particular situation, and that the soldiers have been called to intervene, and so they are all working hand in hand to try and get into to get the situation under control. And so we can see in our shots the videos from that particular location.
This morning, the situation there at the Pong Atimpoku Road. And what's interesting, we spoke to one eyewitness who said they have not been able to identify the group. I mean, you can't tell who belongs to that group. What does it say?
It tells you that, I mean, the security have a lot on their hands in order to contain this particular situation. And obviously, the post-event analysis, once the situation is brought under control, will raise the point about how the state has handled this particular matter over the last 2 or 3 years, because we've made arrests, we've prosecuted, but we've discontinued the case against them all through. And so one will raise the issue that, I mean, this is what may have emboldened them to take this particular step. For now, the regional minister explains that the aim is to take charge of the area. In his own words, he says it's an operation they're undertaking, it's a security situation that they have, and they intend to ensure that, I mean, Ghana remains safe and Ghana remains united, and he's assured that the security agencies would deal with the matter.
Yeah, and one of the things I was wondering, Joseph, was whether or not we didn't pick up intelligence, but we'll come to that in a bit. But this morning, we're also hearing that the Western Togolanders attacked the Mepe and Aveime police stations in the North Tong constituency and made away with weapons kept in the armories. Volta Region correspondent Fred Kwame Asare joins us with more. Fred, what can you report this morning? What are you hearing from where you are?
Yeah, so information I picked was that at about 1 a.m., some armed men who identified themselves as Western Togolanders broke into the Mepe police station and then the Aveime police station. They were first at the Aveime police station, where they asked the police officers there, they overpowered them, asked them to go naked. They took their uniforms and phones, locked them up in the cells. There was one inmate there, they freed them one, and then they put the police officers who were on duty at the time in the cells, locked them up before they broke into the armory and then made away with some weapons. I'm also told that they also took a ceiling fan, a computer, and then a printer away. These operations happened simultaneously. They were at the Mepe police station, and whilst others were at the Aveime police station. So when those at the Mepe police station finished their operations, they hoisted a Western Togoland flag there and then absconded the scene and joined their colleagues at Aveime. I'm told they are about 50 in number. So at the Aveime police station, they did the same thing, took over the police station and then also injured one police officer in the process. I have also received reports that they seized 2 vehicles belonging to the police officers and then drove one away from the scene. However, as time goes by and then they realized that the daylight was coming up, the numbers started reducing. Whilst others were there chanting war songs and jubilating their victory, the numbers kept reducing.
Okay, and so a while ago, an eyewitness told us that the security personnel were coming in to sort of normalize the situation over there. How successful have they been in doing so?
Well, the last time I spoke to my informant, or whoever is giving me the information, he mentioned that yes, they dispatched a team from the regional police headquarters and then the divisional police station. So they are trying to calm the situation down. But then, as we speak, the numbers have reduced a bit. They are not as much as they were when the operation started. So I should say that the police is trying to take over the situation and then ensure that calm is restored in the area.
What are the people over there saying, and how are they reacting to all that is going on?
Well, most of them are terrified. When I spoke to one eyewitness on the ground, he's saying that the situation is not the best to speak of. They are terrified, they are scared, and they fear anything might happen going forward. So what they are calling for is that there should be a reinforced security in the area where military and then the police should be dispatched to the area to ensure their safety. I'm also told that this number or these people who went to the police stations are mostly made of locals from the Avei, Bato, and Mefe areas, and then some surrounding communities. The guy I spoke to mentioned that he can identify some of them as locals in the area. However, they are scared the incident might repeat itself, so they are calling for police officers to be, police and military officers to be dispatched to the area to reinforce security in the area.
Stay with me, Fred Kwame Asare. I just want to point out to our viewers, those are shots from the Pon at Timpoku Road where the group of Western Togoland soldiers blocked the route. You can see that the fire, as it set fire to tires. Of course, their campaign is that they want to secede from Ghana, be a country, one independence, won't be a country on their own. And Fred, listening to you this morning, this looks like a well-planned, was really well-planned, orchestrated by these Western Togoland soldiers. Tell us what you know about their workings.
What I know about their operations, you mean?
Yeah.
Okay, so this group, like Akabli said, has been in existence for some time now. It is led by one, my papa, Hubedeto. The group previously was one, but then later on divided into two. However, one became dormant, but then the Western Togoland, that is the Western Togoland Foundation, has been in full force operating for over 40 years to say. Quite recently, their activities became more vibrant, where they, on 2 occasions, declared independence for the Western Togoland, which I am told stretches from the Volta region through Oti upwards. There has also been issues about the involvement of this area, the Ketu North area, the Ketu North and the southern part of the Volta region. They claim that they are not part of the Western Togoland and were not part of the plebiscite. The founders of the Western Togoland claimed was an agreement between Ghana and then the Western Togoland that after 50 years of independence, the Western Togoland should go independent or should be freed from the territories of Ghana, as in the Western Togoland territory should become an independent country on its own. So I should say that their activities have been in full force. They have places that they meet. They have WhatsApp groups that they disseminate information, and they've been active in, on social media. I should say so. With regard to the operations of the Western Togoland, it's a well-organized group. But then, let me also add that it is not the entire region that is in support of this cause or the call for taxation of the Western Togoland. When I say the entire region, I mean the Volta region. Like the Volta regional minister said, just a minute group of people are calling or championing this independent cause. However, from the look of things, it appears they really want to undertake this objective and ensure they become successful in this venture.
All right, Fred Kwame Asare, our Volta region correspondent. We'll thank you for now. We'll come back to you shortly for some updates as we continue to follow this breaking news. Joining us is Albert Yeoyang with OneUp. Great to have you this morning. It's not the kind of news you'd have expected on the Friday morning. What's your reaction to what you've heard so far?
Good morning. The story keeps developing and it looks as if we need to strengthen our effort to be able to address it. If they are blocking the road, we need to get there with the security, and that is what I'm hearing, if that is true, to be able to get them off the area so that normal life can go on in that area. And then we can engage them. I think that we have been making arrests as a country whenever these things happen, and we have been doing investigations. I am wondering whether we have engaged them in a sustainable communication to be able to get to the bottom of this. Like I indicated some time ago on air, using your medium, this action by this group, it probably did not just start. It has been something that they have thought about over and over. If one of their leaders is that old, as we read in the news, so it means that he did not start just now, and his groups, his followers, and all those other people involved did not just start. They have thought about it, they have planned it, and they have discussed it. They have, and so it means as a country we need to have a sustainable engagement with them to get to the bottom of it and to see what are the issues that really require addressing. The other thing that I think we need to think about seriously is how this can then become, the action of this group can then become an opportunity for other groups, to exploit, especially extremist activities. And now we get into elections. How does it become an opportunity for others? So we need to be very serious about this. The last time I heard about it was when there was an alleged hoisting of a flag, and I heard on air the Eastern Regional Minister and other people talking on air, about the fact that there were investigations going on. And we seem to be dismissive sometimes, which I think that can be problematic for the way we are handling it. So I think, as I indicated, we need to employ the security arrangement, and we need to employ the soft approaches as well, so that it does not become repetitive. Otherwise, if it continues like this, it can easily become an opportunity.
I mean, you raise an important point that this is happening with just days to the elections. But I want to go back to a point you made earlier about how this was carefully planned and orchestrated. We're hearing that they attacked a police station, made away with armories. Now, I'm just trying to figure out how the security personnel didn't gather intelligence about this.
I didn't get the question.
So I'm asking, how is it that we didn't have some intelligence about this, based on the point you made about the fact that this looked to be a well-planned incident?
Yes, of course, intelligence can never always be conclusive. The criminals or other people who also plan against intelligence, you can sometimes have their way out. And as you mentioned, if we are aware of a group like this, then we should be mindful of the fact that they will be looking for resources to enable them to champion their cause. And so intelligence, yes, they would be.
Hello?
Hello?
Yes, please go ahead.
So the intelligence agents will be doing their work, but, like I indicated, it cannot be conclusive. And I think that we should have been very, very mindful of the fact that these people will be looking out for resources that will facilitate their work, Be that as it may, I think that once it has happened, the investigation to be able to recover these arms, needs to be speeded up so that it does not stay in their hands, that can influence their operations. That's the point that I can make on that.
Right, and you also talked about engaging these secessionists, but it looks like they're being emboldened by the day. I mean, to be able to block the route to a major road, they are really emboldened. Is engagement the way to go?
That's why I talked about employing both approaches. You have to employ the hard approach, making sure that you get some people who really offend the law, to bring them to book in a way that you employ also the peace-building approach, which is the soft approach, so that engagement, communication with them to find out what really are the issues and letting them even understand that this is not within the remit of the law, but if we get them and at a point we get them off again, then it's like back and forth kind of thing. Yes. Of course, they also continue to make demands, but like I indicated, once it looks like a planned thing over time, that is why we would do this, then before we realize they employ a different strategy. So it's very sustainable in terms of their, operation. And so we also need to adopt a very sustainable approach so that we should be ahead of them in a way, and mindful of the fact that the actions of the so-called secessionist group can become opportunities, that can now affect us generally.
All right. Thank you so much, Albert Yao-Yang. He's National Coordinator of WANEP, joining us on the phone with some perspective to this breaking news story. Once again, those are images from the Pong-Atimpoku Road, where a group of Western Togoland soldiers this dawn blocked the route. We want to go to Isojaman FM's Odia Sempa, joining us with some more from where he is. Where are you this morning, and what can you report?
Yes, hello, good morning to your listeners this morning. And my name is Ike. As I speak with you, I'm at the scene where the incident happened this dawn. And as I speak with you, the security agencies, the military and then the police service, have engaged the arsonists, and they've been able to offload the blocks from the road that now cars are, going and then coming. So now there is no anyone who is stranded here right now. Okay.
Well, earlier in our shots, we saw a group of men clad in black T-shirts, I believe, and khaki trousers. I should think that those are the people behind what took place this morning. Have you seen any of them around?
As I spoke with you, immediately the military and then the police personnel engaged them, and then they agreed to what the security agencies discussed with them. Immediately after offloading the blocks from the road, they vanished.
Okay. Earlier when we spoke with our correspondent Fred Kwame Asare in the Volta region, he talked about the fact that residents were terrified about the situation over there. What kind of sentiments are you picking up from the people in that area?
Right now, I think the only thing they were demanding is that they have a portion of land here that belongs to them. The Western Togoland. So they want the government to hand over their portion of land to them, so they can also manage their own affairs.
And the residents in the area, what has been their response to the blockage of the road, the activities of the Western Togoland soldiers there?
I think 2 weeks now, they came here to mount their billboards, and the security agencies, came in to dismantle the billboards that they mounted. So today, around 1:35 a.m., that we had a report that they blocked the road. So I think they are just telling the government, the authority to, make sure that their portion of land over here should be handed over to them. And by then, residents around this place, weren't much aware of the activities or, the situation. So none of them, came out. It was around just 6 a.m. that they most of them had the information because of the noise and, the noise that the stranded travelers were making. That, generated a whole, some kind of awareness to the residents over here. And then they also came out, but nothing much happened. During the incident, the police personnel wanted to give some warning shot, but the military officers calmed them down, and they also engaged them again with some kind of words, and I think they were able to, offload the blocks from the road. That as I speak with you, the road is free and cars are, coming.
Okay, thanks very much for the update. That was Odia Sempa with Sojaman FM. He's telling us that the situation has been brought under control. There is a free flow of traffic, I believe, at this moment, as the security personnel have stepped in. Joining me in studio, with me actually, is Joseph Akablay. Joseph, important, let's talk about the timing of this. Albert Yaoyang talked about the fact that we are just days to the elections, and the group chose this time to do what they did.
Yes, that raises lots of concerns, and this looks like a carefully planned operation, like he put out there, and he makes the point that intelligence sometimes fails. But then again, it's a reminder that going into the election, we need to step up the security of the country, because to be able to carry out such operation well coordinated so that you're able to block the entry points into a region from 2 a.m. till now, it tells you that these are individuals who are able to move. And so questions emerge that we don't know no roadblocks. How did they move and be able to gather at those points and carry out what they carried out?
And we are told it's a group of 50 people. How they were able to do this totally outwit our security personnel, if I should put it that way. It's worrying.
Yes, and even the report from Fred Kwame Asari about the police station, and then the regional minister, Volta regional minister, confirming to us on radio that 3 policemen are in the grips of these individuals. We actually what happened was we were trying to reach the police commander, and one of the secessionist guys picked up the phone and said that yes, they are the ones who have taken over the place. They are the ones who have blocked the road, and that they have the police officer in their custody and 2 others. He also told us that one of them is injured. The regional minister later came on to confirm this to us and tell us that they are trying to recapture them, rescue them.
And we're talking about the fact that they are now emboldened to do what they do, and questions the approach in dealing with these people. We heard Albert Yaoyang talk about the fact that we should engage them more, but if there's cause to arrest 1 or 2 people we found to be breaking the law, we should be doing that. What do you think?
He's the expert, but obviously the approach that we've used over the past is to arrest, put them before court, discontinue the case, and try and engage them. Yet it keeps happening. In fact, after Papavi, who is said to be the leader of the group, after he had declared independence, he actually left the country. The security agencies were on a manhunt for him for weeks. They couldn't find him up until now. I think it's gotten to the level where we need to arrest them, put them before court, and take them through the process, because the nation needs to speak boldly that these are people who don't have a right to do what they are doing. Ghana is a sovereign state. When people wanted their own regime, we saw what happened. Our territories are well defined in our constitution, and there's no such process for this particular move that they are pushing. And so, they need to put a stop to it. And like they make the point, these are not people whom you can say that is a general sentiment that cuts across the regions. We've heard from MPs across both aisles, the NPP side, the NDC side, who have all condemned such occurrence in the area. And so this is the time, this is the height that we've gotten to, and we shouldn't exceed this at any point. And so we expect the security agencies to bring this under control. The Ghana Police Service Facebook handle, they've actually put out a post just about 39 minutes ago.
Okay.
And it says, "Good morning, Ghana. Commuters to and from Accra, Aho, Aveime, Adidome, Mepe, Akuse, Sogakope, Aflao are likely to experience traffic due to security operations within those areas. Anybody traveling on any of these roads should exercise caution." And so they choose to term it as a security operation, but we have our reporters on the ground. They are telling us what exactly is happening.
Yeah, and thankfully the situation is being normalized. We are told that the security personnel have stepped in, and traffic is flowing this morning. Thanks very much, Joseph Akablay. If you just joined us, the news is that in their quest for independence, a group of Western Togoland soldiers at dawn today blocked the route, the Pong Atimpoku Road, to make a point. You can see those visuals we picked up from what happened at dawn. Obviously, the group of secessionists there making the point about their quest for independence. We keep following this story for you with some more analysis on this program. The AM show. My name is Daryl Kwao. Mama V Owusu Abuaje is coming in a moment, and we'll have sports news coming up next. Do stay tuned.
Hello, good morning and welcome to AM Sports with me, Oreko Ampofu. Hope you had a good evening and an even better morning. We start off as usual with some local news and from the camp of the Ghana Football Association, who have announced when the Ghana Premier League would be kicking off. And the date set is the 13th of November. Remember, it's been 6 months since the league was suspended, and there's more in the following report by Hans Mentarando.
Flagship football competition, the Ghana Premier League, is expected to kickstart from Friday, November 13th, while the Division 1 League kicks off on December 3rd, 2020. The Women's Premier League is set to kick off on January 2nd, 2021. This follows the decision of government to give the green light for football to resume. Clubs will need to fulfill all club licensing regulation requirements. The Club Licensing Board has the responsibility of vetting the license application of the clubs to ensure compliance with legal, administrative, finance, technical, medical, and security requirements of the GFA Club Licensing Regulation before issuing licenses to clubs. This should be submitted on or before October 5th, 2020. The Club Licensing Board is expected to begin inspection of venues and secretariat of clubs in the Premier League Division 1 and the Women's Premier League on October 6th, 2020. This will help affirm the decision to approve various centres submitted by the clubs if they meet the criteria. Clubs are to register their players at all levels for the new season to begin and is expected to end on the 1st of October. The Premier League, Division 1 and the Women's League clubs have up to midnight of November 5th to submit the final list of their players and officials for the new season. The Ghana Football Association will also issue COVID-19 protocols and regulations in addition to the guidelines from FIFA and the Confederation of African Football, which were earlier sent to members.
We've got a fluid situation ongoing with activities of that secessionist group. We've got more updates for you as we settle and also talk about what's making headlines in the newspapers today. Joseph Akabley will be back on set. We'll talk about that. And then also we will talk about the big headlines this week as we did last week. So anything that made it for you in terms of the headlines, but what you're watching on your screens, videos, amateur videos that we're still getting from this group. Some armed men believed to be members of the Western Togoland secession group have reportedly attacked the Aveime and Mfe police stations in the North Tong districts of the Volta region. That's actually the very latest. A group of armed men in the early hours of Friday forcibly took over both stations simultaneously, overpowered the police officers, broke into the armory and made away with all the weapons. That's the news that we're getting. And from an eyewitness, he described it as they naked the police officers on duty, took their weapons and locked them in the cells before breaking into the armory. And that's according to an eyewitness. The group at Mfe, after hoisting a Western Togoland flag, joined their colleagues at the Aveime police station, seized 2 police vehicles and injured an officer. Eyewitness accounts detailed that one of the vehicles was driven away by the armed men. These are not stories that we can independently verify. We're relying on eyewitness accounts, and it's just the situation that is breaking, and it's very much developing. And we will be giving you updates as and when we do have. We also, get videos and pictures coming through, and when we do have it, we will share it with you. Joseph Akabley, you gave some update and background context to the situation earlier with Daryl Kwao. Just for those who are joining us for the very first time, if you're just tuning and you're watching the AM show here on Joy News, and you're just learning about the situation, Joseph, help us understand it.
And so we are talking about the present day Volta region and Oti region. Parts of that were not part of Ghana before independence. We had the Gold Coast colony, then we had the British Togoland, and we also we had the Western Togoland as well. And so these are individuals who fall within the current Volta region that were making a point. And so when Ghana, it was decided that the Gold Coast colony would become independent, they had the option of participating in a plebiscite to decide whether or not they join Ghana or not. And they voted in their majority that they want to join. They then Ghana was on the verge of attaining independence. And so that was carried out and they joined the country. Now these are individuals who, for many years, more than 30 plus years, they've been agitating and making their point that they believe that that merger with Ghana was contrary to law and that they have the right to determine for themselves where they want to belong to. And so they don't want to be part of independent Ghana, urging the government of Ghana to declare that part of the country independent. And so that has been the request that they have been making. There have been occasions where they've held events to actually declare that portion of the country independent. Mm-hmm. They've been arrested many times. There was a point that as many as 80 people were arrested in an operation carried out by a joint military and police team. Some of them were brought to Accra. About 7 of their leaders, they were put before the courts. Mm-hmm. They were charged with treason, at least on 2 different occasions. But each time, the state discontinued the case against them. And it's interesting to point out that while the state discontinued the case, these individuals returned to the area and they kept undertaking the activity that they've been undertaking in making the point that they want independence. This time around, they took it onto virtual platforms. Their leader, one Papa V, is nicknamed Papa V, is an elderly man in his 80s. He is a retired director of education. He now took it to a virtual platform, has been doing videos and declaring the area independent. In the last couple of months, they've been quite active again, erecting billboards in some parts of the eastern region where they believe it's land that belongs to them, they say. Then again, so that billboard that they erected, it was welcoming people into the Western Togoland. That was pulled down by the security services immediately. We understand they erected it at dawn, it was pulled down. They did the same thing in parts of the Volta region as well. The security agencies went in and pulled it down. And now we have what we have on our hands. We are told that at 2 a.m. they blocked 2 major entry points into the region. So one entry point from the eastern region, another from Accra into the Volta region. And that resulted in vehicular traffic. And again, they attacked the police station per the reports we have received. We're actually trying to reach a police officer in the area to check on the security situation when the phone was answered by one of the individuals who said he was part of those who had blocked the roads and that they had actually seized 3 policemen. The regional minister, Dr. Archibald Lecha, has confirmed that information to us, telling us that they are working to rescue these 3 individuals. And so that is the information that we have gathered so far. And so the government of Ghana, as far as it stands, holds the view that this is contrary to law, it's a treasonable act, but it hasn't gone through with the prosecution to secure conviction against these individuals. And so they are individuals who do their things, they go into hiding, arrested, released, and they go back to their things again.
Do we know why the state seemed disinterested? You know, there's usually the show of carrying them to court with all the conversation. I remember the pouring of libation at some points, and then we discontinue. Is there a reason that is given?
No reason is given, and as we know, in terms of the functions of the Attorney General's office, I mean, they have the power to discontinue any matter, and the case has been made over the period that it would be appropriate if amendments are made for reasons to be given, but no reasons have been offered either in public discourse or at the level of the courts. I mean, you just go and tell the court that, I mean, we want to discontinue the case, and the court discharges them. But I mean, it's fair, and we heard from the security analyst earlier we spoke to was making a point that it's clear that it appears the state either didn't see this as a serious issue as it is now, or it opted for more or less an engagement approach with them. But clearly, it has not yielded the results that we expect it to yield, and it has gotten to this particular level. And he was again making a point about the timing being very close to election. And you know, around election period, it's very easy to take advantage of any situation. And so he was making a point that it's important that the security agencies move swiftly and bring the situation under control. Just before we came on air for the paper review, we had received again a report from the eastern region that they've been able to dismantle the blockade that had been erected by them, and so now vehicles were flowing. We are yet to get an update as to the situation in Volta region as to whether or not they've been able to clear that one as well to enable the move.
And as we're talking about this line, because this is the angle as we've received from our, the eyewitnesses that we've spoken to, and also the Volta Regional Minister who spoke on our sister station, Joy FM, who also indicated, by the way, that there are travelers who are stranded but assured, as at the time that he spoke on Joy FM, which was about 6 a.m., that the situation would be under control in the next 2 hours. So say around 8 a.m., this will all be sorted out. But the other angle of this conversation is also a post by the NDC's Eduji Kujo Tamaklo. Joseph, I know that you've read this, who's also bringing another view to this situation. So, for instance, he said in this post that don't be fooled, this so-called blocking of roads in the Volta is the work of the current national security architecture to justify the deployment of the military by Nanado and his hype men during the election to intimidate voters in the Volta and Oti regions. We are smarter than them. So whilst we focus on this, on the angle that we've been giving you update on, this is another one coming in that perhaps you might also want to focus on. But of course, independently, we will be verifying the situation. For now, though, we'll continue to give you updates from eyewitnesses and our reporters and their sources from the two regions, and we'll be giving them to you when we get it and be sharing the pictures as well with you. And just as we spoke to the Volta Regional Minister, we'll be speaking to officials when we do get them and share what they say also with you. This is definitely the place to be to get all the updates on this developing story. But if you're traveling to the Volta region, to the Oti region, and you can postpone the trip, it will be very good, because we are told that there's heavy traffic. So you may just be frustrated sitting in traffic. If you can postpone that trip, it will be very good for you. Quickly, we haven't told you what's in the newspapers, so we will just run through the headlines, try and do basically tell you what's in the newspapers, and then we will be focusing on the top headlines this week. So you can join us with your thoughts, particularly if you're also in the traffic situation. I mean, it was such a headache for me today, over an hour, crossing a stretch that takes me less than 10 minutes to do. So you are in Pokwasio. It's just that you are from, right from Amasaman, as you enter Pokwasi to the Pokwasi Junction. Imagine spending an hour doing that.
So what's responsible for the traffic?
So I later saw on my residence platform that a truck, there was a truck that had either turned over or something like that, but I didn't see the truck, even though I was in the traffic. But I saw a towing vehicle, so perhaps that truck that caused this, maybe was involved in an accident, whatever, was towed, but I didn't see it. All I know is that the traffic was heavy and throughout the entire stretch. And of course, there are people who are also indisciplined. As for the trotro drivers and some of the four-wheel cars who think they are better than us, who just want to crush you. So there's a lot of indiscipline. The traffic is heavy. Usually if you leave home at 6, you'll be in traffic. But most of us would leave earlier than that. Maybe not most of us, but those who have work that we have to go to work way earlier, we would leave early. And to think that 4:45, you're sitting in thick traffic, that was incredible for me this morning. So you can also avoid that stretch. We will, obviously, because I was sitting in that traffic and I didn't have enough daylight, I couldn't take pictures to show you. But we've tried to do the live Google map this morning. We'll open it up and then see. So if you see the red thick lines, that's like heavy traffic. The yellow says it's moving slowly, and then the blue says it is free, as in the movement is free. But we see a lot of thick red, and then we will share the names of those communities with you. When I was crossing, there was no traffic in Amasaman, but I can promise you that there is traffic in Amasaman because it was static from Pokwasi, and that meant that all those who were coming from Kutunsi, and Kutunsi is where I live, those who are coming from Nsawam all experienced some form of traffic this morning. So you've got to be very patient if you're using that stretch this morning. Or listen, it's a Friday, work from home if you can, or do market tomorrow if that's your mission. If you're just coming to walk around in Accra, please postpone it. Yeah. Okay. Not sure I can see the names of the communities. Can we just open it up a bit more so we can share? And this is from exactly where? This is a map from Amasaman to Pokwase, correct, my director? Okay. All right. So, and you would think it's because of the construction. Obviously, because of the construction, the road. Okay, we'll come. I'm finding it a bit difficult to see. Okay, I'm finding it difficult to see because of the font size, so that I can share the names of the particular communities, those landmarks with you. But I can tell you that there's a lot of traffic on the Pokwase, the Amasaman Pokwase Road this morning. And if you can avoid it, if you've got an alternative, usually the alternative will be to go through Kwabenya. But around this time when it's 7:37, Kwabenya won't be looking good as well. So the thing that you have to do though is to use your Google map before you set up. It can give you some ideas so you can avoid the traffic this morning. All right. Well, we will speak to somebody who is experiencing the traffic this morning, so you know, he can help us appreciate. So this is not on the stretch that I'm telling you about, which is the Pokwase stretch, but this is the secessionist, the developing story in the Volta Oti region. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning to you, sir.
Yes.
Oh, okay, Sashi, good morning. Thank you for joining us here on Joy News. Where exactly are you, and what can you tell us in terms of what you're experiencing?
Okay, right now we have moved from Japan, heading towards Accra now, like 5 minutes ago. But before then, we were stuck at Japan from 2 a.m. till this morning.
Stuck from Japan?
Yes, we were stuck there because the road has been blocked.
Okay.
According to those...
Did you see those who blocked the road? Did you see those who blocked the road? Hello?
And people, they are celebrating Independence Day, so we can't move from where they are to Accra, and Accra also can come into the Volta Road.
Okay, Madam. Madam, we missed parts of what you said, so can you start for us again? First of all, I asked if you saw the people who blocked the road.
Oh, yes, I saw them, but I can't recognize any since I'm a stranger there.
Okay, but what were they wearing? Anything you remember about what they were wearing? Anything you remember about what they were wearing? What were they wearing and what were they saying?
Oh, they were wearing like normal bra and top with danger tied on their head, their faces, their arms. They are holding sticks, they are holding machetes, some are holding knives, some are holding axe. You know?
Okay.
A whole lot. Yeah, some are holding catapult.
Did they explain why they had blocked the road to you, travelers?
Yes, they said today they are celebrating Independence Day. They are independent, so no car should move from where we are to Accra, and no car should come from Accra to the Volta region.
Okay, but eventually you managed to cross. So how did you negotiate that with them?
We didn't negotiate. The soldiers came to scare them, but some were also brave, so they were fighting. Like it became gunshots between them and the police. They shoot. The police also shoot. They shot some few people's legs that I have seen. They've taken mobile phones from people. They've beaten people. They've arrested them. And fire service also came around to point the fire.
Okay.
So now police, one of the police cars just escort us to, so we can, manage ourselves through, because the traffic is so huge here that, because people have been stuck since 1 a.m.
Okay. So where have you gotten to now? Now you've managed to cross, so there's no roadblock?
So we are bound at this moment.
Okay. Bound. Okay. But could you manage to see how many of you were trapped there?
Oh, we were more than 500. 500. I can't even count, because the cars were lost. More than 200 cars. More than 200. Even after 3 a.m., the cars were more than 200. Then up to 5, there were more than 1,000. There is no space. You can't even, get down and walk anywhere.
Okay. So this group of men, this group of men, did they threaten you in any way? Did they take anything away from you?
Threatening us, yes, they did.
Okay, but did they take anything away from you? What were they saying in terms of the threats?
If we dare come close, one person told me, if I dare touch him, I will vanish. Yes, I will vanish from the surface of this land. That's what he told me personally when I was trying to record.
Okay, so you were trying to talk to them?
Yes, because the way they were misbehaving, we are innocent. If you are having your independence, we are not aware. No announcement was made. So we were begging them, but no, they wouldn't listen. They said if we dare cross, something will happen. So I asked the driver to calm down, and we all went back to the car.
Oh, so you got down from the vehicle to try and reason with them?
I got down, yes. They need that I got down.
But these were men with, you mentioned they had machetes and sticks. Yes. You were not afraid of them? You were not afraid of them?
You know, that whole place was dark. Around 2 a.m. It was dark. You can only see the flame of fire. So I went there politely though. And I said, oh, my brother, what is going on? So he said, please don't touch me. And I should stop speaking tree. If I speak tree again, he'll slap me. So I changed and I was speaking English.
And this person still wouldn't reason with you. But so at that time, how many men could you count? The people who had blocked the road, set the fire?
The next way. So it kept breaking.
Okay. So can you hear me? I was asking of the number of men. Yes. How many were they? Hello? Okay. She did indicate that because of where she is, there's some network challenges, obviously breaks in that network. But we'll leave it here. I guess we appreciate in terms of her accounts, the eyewitness accounts, as she used that stretch of road that was also blocked, but she indicates that the traffic is now flowing because the military stepped in. We also have an eyewitness who just crossed the Pokwase stretch, who's also joining us on phone to share an experience with us. Hello, good morning to you if you can hear me. Thank you for your time.
Good morning, I can hear you.
Okay, yes, sir. So you are coming from where exactly?
Okay, I'm coming from around Fise. I don't know if you know Fise.
Yes.
Ukwasi Fise.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
I said from home around 6:30, and then joining the highway has been very difficult. The traffic is so heavy. But gradually, there were policemen around who were helping in directing the traffic so that the traffic would flow.
Okay.
But it was so heavy, and as I'm speaking, I'm now at Chimota Old Station. So from the Fise stretch, I believe the traffic starts from Amasama, but since I'm not coming from Amasama, I can't tell more about what is happening from Amasama. So from the Fise stretch down to Ofanko barrier, and then from Ofanko, it flows up to Achimota Mall, and there's a few traffic, and then from the traffic light at New Plant, the traffic flows a little bit faster as compared to what we saw in Pokwase.
Okay. Is this unusual? Because you sound like you use the road, you're a regular user of the road, and you set off around 6 every day. Is this normal?
It sometimes happens. It's become something of normal to us. because of the construction work going on, and then few trucks and vehicles that break down along the road. Okay. So you may be on a dual carriage, and when you get in front, it becomes a single lane. So all cars have to maneuver and come to the single lane, and this also creates traffic.
Okay.
And the construction work along the road also is a factor to the traffic.
Okay. So I came through from Amasaman, from Kutunse to Amasaman through Pokwase around 4:45. And usually around that time, there is no traffic. I mean, it's just free flowing, but there was heavy traffic today. Somebody told me that there was a truck, a truck turned on the road. Did you see any vehicle that was stuck, reason for the traffic?
Okay, when I got to Pokwase Junction, there's a road that leads to Awoshi. There was, I think, 2, not trucks, but pickups that were parked by the roadside, I think 40. And before you get to ACP Junction, I think there used to be a U-turn, but I saw policemen blocking that U-turn so that the traffic would flow. So, people from ACP would like to do all sorts of U-turn along the road. So I saw policemen blocking those kind of U-turns so that they could use the stretch to Pokwase and then take the U-turn. So that helped the flow of the traffic a little bit. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been where I am at the moment.
Well, you're still on the road, so we'll leave you so you can concentrate. Have a good day, and thank you for sharing. Okay, that's an eyewitness also sharing his experience with us as he used the Pokwase stretch of the road today. So some say a truck has fallen. I didn't see a fallen truck though. And the construction is something that's been ongoing. There's nothing unusual in terms of them actively working that you would think is causing the traffic, particularly at the time that I used it. But there's still very heavy traffic on the road. And so you've been warned. Please be cautious as you use the road. Joseph, you've been very quiet. Tell us what's making the headlines in the papers.
So let's start from the front page of the Daily Guide. It says 1 killed in a Farcourt shooting, and cocoa price up 28%, 10,560 cedis per ton. That's a photograph of the president. Rawlings' mother is dead, and Jean Mensah photographs also here talking about the EC extending the voter exhibition exercise. The back page has a Chelsea keeper under pressure due to Mendy arrival. Holy Trinity Spalke, they are hosting a health farm there. And Suarez wept joins Atleti, and Kotoko settle ex-physio outstanding debt. The page 3 has the photograph of a cartoon. I'm sure the producer can help pull that up.
This is the famous page 3 in Akosia.
Yeah, Akosia. Takwa Show Boys. Takwa Show Boys. And that's a photograph of, I'm not sure I know them. I don't think I know them. Do you know who these are?
But you're usually, like, I think you've got better eyes. You can identify them. You think I can?
It would have been easy to...
Any clues?
It would have been
easy to... Is there a chewing, biting of a hand? Do you see blood?
Yes, I see blood.
Okay.
I also see swollen right eye.
Okay.
The left eye is also swollen.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's just a cartoon of 2 men trading punches. Yeah.
Not 2 kids, 2 men.
2 men trading punches. And what we have here, they've actually taken off their shirts. So more or less like topless. And the one on the left, I have to show this to the camera. We have it here.
Let's see, Takwa Show Boys.
Yeah,
you know, we'll be reminding ourselves of the biggest headlines this week. And I think I forgot, but this is one of the big news, the big headlines. Okay, there, that's it. You say you can't identify them?
No, they don't look like anyone I know.
But there's a clue.
Takwa Show Boys, yeah.
Still
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, so the gentleman on the right just landed a hefty right punch, causing the gentleman on the left to move towards the back. And I mean, obviously, the one on the left has also seized that hand that just landed the punch, and so.
But I don't see the hand in the mouth.
Yeah, it's just left that side. I think there's a bit of, there's some drops that look like blood.
Blood, okay. I see what you're saying.
Yeah, so.
But they say usually after the blows, you can't identify them. I think that's why we're having challenges identifying them.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
But that's what Akosia has for us. So that is it for the Daily Guide this morning. We can quickly do the front pages of the other papers. The Daily Statesman says, good news for cocoa farmers. Government increases producer price by 28%. Mahama prepares grounds for 2020 defeat, threatens rejection of results. The front page of the Republic.
Does it say threatens rejection of results?
Yes, that is what the Daily Statesman is reporting.
But there was a condition because we all listened.
Yes, the condition was that he's not going to accept the results of any flawed election.
Exactly. Yeah. I think it should be put in context.
In that context.
Yes.
The Republic says Mahama blows hot air, set stage for rejection of 2020 results, as we've just explained, if it's flawed. Chief shot dead at Castle Falcor. Rawlings loses mother also on page 3. And for those who are wondering how old she was, she's quite old, in the 80s, I understand. The story's on.
I think more than 100. Exactly,
yes.
more than 100.
Mother of former President Jerry John Rawlings, Victoria Boti, who recently celebrated her 101st birthday, has died. And so the story says she had been unwell for some time now. She was one time head of the catering department at the presidency during the Rawlings' era. Yeah.
Yeah.
Who else to cook for you, that mommy?
Yeah, she lived a good life, lived beyond 100.
Yeah. The Ghanaian Times says EC considers second round of voter registration. NDC suspends campaign for 3 days nationwide to monitor voters registration exhibition exercise. And political parties agree to give EC space to correct anomalies in voters register. And government fixes new cocoa prices as president announces increase of 20% per 64 kilogram bag of cocoa. The back page has a story about 6.6 million CD Akontombra rice factory ready. At the back page, the crime page, Mama V's favorites, has a story about 7 jailed, 175 years for robbery.
Divide 175 by 7.
Okay, while Eko works the math, 7 persons who robbed a Supreme Court judge and a banker. Oh, that's interesting.
They robbed the Supreme
Court judge and a banker of their vehicles, a laptop, and other personal effects at gunpoint have been sentenced to a total of 175 years jail term by an Accra Circuit Court.
That's 25 years.
25 years, okay. Nene Kojo Tete, aka Chairman Obed, who was not present while judgment was being pronounced, has been sentenced to 25 years in absentia. Warbeck, upon an accomplice who escaped from lawful custody and still at large, was also sentenced 25 years in absentia. The rest of the accused persons who witnessed the trial, namely Nana Kwabna Aka, Isaac Ajiman, aka Batman, Kweku Buenin, Frederick Kwesi Boatin, and Kofi Debra, were jailed 25 years each by the court after a full trial. This was the court presided over by Justice Abuaje Tando. So they were variously charged with conspiracy to commit crime, to wit robbery, 3 counts of robbery and having possession of stolen property. And so the prosecuting inspector narrated that the complainants in the case are Supreme Court Justice Gertrude Araba Isaba Tokuno, who was then a Court of Appeal judge, and Mr. Anthony Kodua Bediako, a banker. He goes on to say that on December 8, 2016 at about 8:30 p.m., the judge was on board her official vehicle, a Toyota Fortuner, and was returning from a night church service. Upon reaching a residence at Bachona Spintex area, she was attacked by a gang of armed robbers numbering more than 6, who attacked and robbed her of a vehicle, 1 Apple MacBook laptop valued at 1,300 cedis and an iPhone valued at 600 cedis, and a cash of 900 cedis and $50. That's interesting. And her Bibles, her 3 Bibles too.
They took all that.
Her 3 Bibles, they stole the 3 Bibles too and they bolted. The robbers, not satisfied, further drove Justice Tokonu's vehicle to the house of Mr. Bediako at Anya, where they further attacked him at gunpoint and robbed him of his Hyundai Santa Fe sports wagon. The vehicle number is provided an amount of 350 cedis. Prosecution said investigations led to the arrest of the accused persons who were charged with the offenses. And so they robbed the Supreme Court judge, then they now used the Supreme Court judge's vehicle to head to another point where they took a Hyundai Santa Fe.
These guys are dirty.
It was quite a good robbery day for them, you would say, and that's how come They've got 175 years collectively. Some of them are on the run. The police are still looking for them, but they pleaded not guilty. The trial went to the full hall, and they've been found guilty.
All right, we've got about 5 minutes, so we will tell you the biggest news headlines this week. I think we started off this week. Monday was a holiday. It was the police. They made the biggest headlines for us with the, cautioning their men to watch the rounds. You remember that? The Greater Regional Police Commander? Let's hear him.
And control yourselves. We all need energy to work during the elections. I therefore advise all of you to eat well. Reduce your sexual rounds. For you to get energy to work well before, during, and after 2020 elections.
This is my man, not just for the week, but I guess for the rest of the year. The commander there asking his men to reduce their sexual rounds. They started doing it, by the way, and we told ourselves on the show this week that we'll be monitoring. So if you have a neighbor who is a policeman or a woman, just kindly, in a very nice way, remind them that their commander says they should watch their sexual rounds and reduce it and eat well, so they can do a proper policing job in the upcoming elections. Did I say it well?
Yes, you did. They need energy before, during, and after the election, as the commander puts it.
That's right. But that same day, remember, there was also an action, a strike that was called by the Ghana Registered Nurses Association, backed by physician assistants and registered anesthetists. That also went for 3 days. It was on day 3 that, well, actually, the Friday before the Monday when the action started, the National Labour Commission had gone to court to get them to stop the action. But they said they had not been duly served. So they continue Monday. They started on Monday, Tuesday, and then the National Labour Commission went to court again to get the court to get them to compulsorily come to the table to begin the negotiation. So 2 actions the National Labour Commission took that got them to call off their strike finally. Here's President of the Ghana National Registered Association speaking.
The Labour Commission. So, as law-abiding citizens, as we've been talking about all the time, they have
Madam, that is not Madam Perpetual's voice. We apologize to you. But, that was what we actually wanted to play was her calling off the action and saying that if they will go back to the table, all right, but if things still don't look well and the posturing is not good and they don't get any serious commitment, they will think about it again. I think, Joseph, anything else that you remember from this week?
I think the Electoral Commission's voter exhibition exercise also, it came up strongly on Monday and traveled throughout the week to yesterday when the former president, John Dramani Mahama, addressed the major news conference. The reports are that hundreds and even in some cases thousands of voters could not simply find their names on the register. The EC has since extended the exhibition exercise by 2 days. The NDC says it's not enough. Have you checked your details?
No, I haven't.
I used the 1422 code to check.
Yours worked. Okay, yes, I'm just going to do that, worked, yeah. But I haven't checked yet.
But I intend to go over to the polling station, my polling station tomorrow, to check and just be sure, because I don't want to just rely on a text, and especially when with a text you are not able to verify your image, and you know that there are people who go to the place and they are told that their number has been given to someone else. And we heard the former president say that it happened to the NDC's running mate, Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman.
Why don't we just listen to him on that? This was just yesterday.
In the central region, glaring cases of duplication of card numbers were also recorded in 14 centers in the Komenda, Edina, Eguafo, Ebrem constituency. And one of such cases involved my running mate, Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman. She went to her center to check her name. She sent somebody to check her name, and they said she had to come herself because her number was duplicated. Somebody else had the same number as her. And so she had to come and collect the card and take it to the district office to go and sort it out. And so she had to drive from Commander to Elmina, where the district office of the EC is. And at Elmina, they took the old card from her, destroyed it, and replaced it with a new card. I mean, being who she is, she could make the trip to Elmina. What of the poor farmer in the village who comes and finds out that their card is not valid? Are they going to travel to Elmina to replace the card?
So that's the former president and flag bearer of the NDC talking about the integrity challenges of the electoral process. When he first raised it, though, the Electoral Commission came back to say that what we're experiencing, what Joseph Ackah-Blay mentioned, what the former president talked about in terms of his running mate, the situation is actually normal. Reason for the ongoing exercise to correct those anomalies. It was also at this press conference that he said, which was actually, he stressed on it because this won't be the first time that he said that his party will not accept the result of a flawed election. So for us, these are some of the biggest news stories this week. For us home here at the Multimedia Group, though, and I'm sure that you've seen us rocking this cloth. Oreko Ampofo came through with his. There was also Daryl, now Joseph Ackah-Blay, as you see on the screen, and then myself. You would see all our colleagues who appear on television today and any social media platform also rocking theirs. That's because you know we're 25 years this year, but this is our formal company cloth that we have unveiled to coincide with our 25 years anniversary. And the girls can't have enough of you, Joseph Ackah-Blay. Somebody said you look really good.
Yeah. And, it's not just the girls, but then it's Kojo, our colleague also is watching. You know, I have something.
You're using Kojo to balance.
What I have. Yeah, my designer.
What is that, by the way?
Yeah, I would ask my designer afterwards. But, I guess I have to put my hands there when I'm feeling cold and bring it out. But it's an amazing cloth. I mean, Joy FM at 25 years.
Yes.
It's great. I mean, if you're a human being and you've been able to take care of someone up to the age of 25 years, it's not easy. And you can imagine for a business to start from the scratch to get to this level. I mean, and it's not possible without our amazing listeners who have now joined us on TV. This is how big the business has become by God's grace, and we intend to do better going forward in many years to come. How old were you 25 years ago?
When we did the math, I was 12. Joseph was 1 in 1995. Yeah.
I'm just a year older than Joy FM. Yeah.
Excuse me? It's not the same, oh. You're wearing diapers. Information with you. The Ministry of Roads and Highways and the Department of Urban Roads, in conjunction with QGMI Constructner et Infrastructura Globale SLU, wish to inform the general public and road users that the Obechebi Lamte roundabout area will be temporarily closed to traffic. This was from yesterday, 24th of September, and it will continue to the 1st of October 2020 from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. each day. So kindly note, the information is that the Obechebi Lamte roundabout will be temporarily closed to traffic from now till the 1st of October from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. each day. This is to enable the contractor to launch the metallic beams for the construction of the interchange. Affected traffic will be diverted to supply alternate routes within the area. Motorists are entreated to follow the directional signages that will be placed at vantage points on the approaches to the roundabout. We apologize for any inconvenience caused, and this is issued by the Ministry of Roads and Highways, Infrastructura, Department of Urban Roads, and it is to you from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. today, till the 1st of October, the Obechebe Lamte roundabout will be closed to traffic. So kindly take note so you're not caught unawares. We're going to be talking about e-vibes. My colleague Becky on the entertainment desk has got a new show on Joy Prime and Joy News as well, and she'll be telling us all about it. But I just want you to appreciate her style this morning. This is her multimedia look today. What up? You're looking pretty.
Oh, thank you.
Give me some vibes, baby.
All right. Should I done? Mama B, but, well, do you feel the vibe?
I do. Listen.
This is the vibe.
Yeah, this is the vibe. You look amazing. I like your style. I feel it.
Thank
really pretty.
Thank you.
But you know, Sunrise is through to the 1/8 stage of the National Science and Math Quiz. You're winning, eh?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's start with you winning something small for me. We have a challenge on the show.
Okay.
Which is your your school anthem challenge.
Mama V.
Yes. Do you remember Sunday school anthem? The Sunrise school anthem.
But I'm so sorry.
You don't?
I don't remember.
Not at all.
No, nothing.
Something, sunrise, high, perseverance and success. Oh God, how did I forget?
Are you reading or you are?
I'm trying to.
Are you talking or you're singing?
I'm trying. You know, I don't have the voice to sing.
Do you want to start again?
Why are you putting me on the spot?
Okay, let's try this one.
Okay.
Can you sing the happy birthday song in your local language?
My local
Becky
language.
is such a unique person.
You're mixed, yeah.
Yeah, you're mixed. So you're Ever, even though you're not Ever, and then you are Kan. So which one would you go for? The happy birthday?
Or the Guan. You know I'm Guan too.
Yes. So can you sing that?
So Ewe, let's
Okay.
Me wish me jigbezana wo egbeya.
Jimnala.
You may, Mama V. But do you know?
I asked you, I'm the quiz mistress la.
Oh God.
Egbenye wo jigbeza, me wish wo jigbezana wo.
Oh my God!
I hope I represented my people well.
Who are your people? Who can identify what you just did?
Which music?
Is it the whole people or the whole?
I think the whole people. It's mostly whole. But yeah, Mama.
We've got some videos. Can we share some of the videos, the entries that came through? All right.
You fale papo, you fale papo, you fale papo, you fale papo, you mala apo, you mala apo, you mala apo.
Daradang hai hua, barka daradang hai hua, shekarun kanawa, shekarun kinawa, shekarun kanawa, shekarun kinawa, Allah sa albarka. Allah sa albarka, Allah sa albarka, Allah sa albarka. Hip hip hip, hooray!
We tried to do. Let's try it.
Yeah.
We said happy is Jijo.
Jijo. Happy birthday, Jigbeza. Jijo jigbezana wo.
I will mata repeat Jijo jigba.
Okay. Jijo gbezana wo. Jijo gbezana wo. Jijo gbezana
No, we haven't. Let's talk about Eva. Oh, do we have the anthem as well? Can we share a few of the ones that have come through? If you're ready, let us know. Otherwise, we'll jump straight into Eva. Okay, let's hear it.
I attend the Papa Senior Technical School, and my school have the shortest anthem in Ghana, and it goes like this: the pass senior high, the pass senior high. Arise and shine like a brightest morning star. The pass senior high. Arise and shine like a brightest morning star. To the midnight candle burning, be the present on the pass. For knowledge is power for service to mankind. Hail in your heart the great do pass. Hip hip hip.
Mo Augustine hen Mutsuni Papa no granya misum osabeni Ebibrika lake for war and yonyam asokon kroni chechrini pa Mo Augustine yana danfo pa Ohutsuni Monica neba Teyena sor na chichaji Amaya fata nyame ninchen.
The anthem of Tamale Senior High. Our Tamale Secondary School has a wonderful opportunity to be the light of North Ghana. We the children must be bold and brave, sincere, faithful, happy, engaged. We stand and strive for the glory of our school. We the children must be bold and brave, sincere, faithful, happy, engaged. We stand and strive for the glory of our school. This is anthem for Tamale Senior High. My name is Abubakar.
Congratulations to all those of you who remember it. Some of us finished school like what, 20 years ago?